the critical Senate race in Georgia that headed to a runoff between Raphael Warnock, the incumbent Democrat, and Republican challenger and former Georgia Bulldogs and NFL football player Herschel Walker is headed to a runoff on two weeks from now, December 6th, will be the election day for the runoff, the typical Tuesday, and there was a fight between the two sides on whether early voting should be allowed and when it should be allowed, and the lawsuits have been filed, and the courts in Georgia have ruled that early voting can continue starting in just 6 days on the 28th of November, which is Saturday. The 26th, 4 days actually. Um, and the reason why this was contested was because there was a law saying that you can't have early voting if on Saturday if there is a state holiday on Thursday or Friday before, which is obviously Thanksgiving, and that's where mostly Republicans were arguing procedurally that there should be no early voting on the Saturday because of Thanksgiving, but a judge did find that because it was a runoff election, which is different than the normal elections, then and that a race of just so critical importance and with very little time for voters and campaigns to prepare just a month between election day and the runoff date. The judge finding out that if the early vote was canceled on Saturday, that they will quote irreparably harm the plaintiffs, their members and constituents, and their preferred runoff candidate in the official ruling. So this is a win for Democrats who uh, vote in greater numbers during early voting. We've seen that trend play out for a while, and it's a loss for Republicans, including the Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who isn't an election denier, but um, still was trying to block this early voting based on state law. Look, continuing down this article, we see that it's an opt-in thing. So some counties can choose to opt in and out of this early voting on Saturday, but the main important thing is, as the last line says, DeKalb and Fulton County, the two biggest counties in Georgia, the Atlanta area, especially Fulton, have opted to hold early voting on Saturday. So that'll be very good for Warnock, who wins those counties by a huge margin. And there's a lot of people there, so it's certainly a win for Democrats in getting this early voting decision to go through for them and having their two main strongholds in the state opt to hold the early voting as the judge allows them to do. Certainly a contested race. Seeing as in the actual election, Warnock won by I think just under a point, with the Libertarian candidate getting around 2 points, which is why there's a runoff. No one got to 50%. And so this could go either way. It remains to be seen how the fact that this won't actually decide control of the Senate, how that will affect um, turnout, and whether that turnout will be based on the party or not. I think it will definitely lower turnout because the stakes are lower, that we know Democrats will control the Senate even if Herschel Walker wins. So the stakes will be lower, and that might mean there's less money getting poured in and less people more motivated to vote to block a specific party from controlling Congress. But certainly important, and because 51 versus 50 is significant, because if Joe Manchin wants to block a bill, if Raphael Warnock holds the seat, then Joe Manchin's vote will essentially be invalidated. If he votes with Republicans, it would stay 50-50. Kamala Harris would continue to break the tie. So we'll be watching this very closely, and everyone in Georgia must vote, whether it's early voting between November 28th and December 2nd, or on the actual election day of December 6th.